going on, everybody? Welcome into Take 5, and on today's episode, we are talking about success. More importantly, the success of the UFC, and that is why I had to break out the sports coat today. I had to be all professional-like, because if we're going to talk about success, I've got to look successful. No one needs to know that I'm not successful, I just have to look that way. You know that old saying, dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have? Well, clearly the job that I want is the bouncer at a Miami nightclub, but needless to say, let's get back to the real point. The UFC is growing exponentially, and there are 3 reasons why. So reason number 1, the UFC is successful. That beautiful bald-headed son of a bitch in Dana White just doesn't stop. If there are 2 bald-headed son of a bitches on this earth that don't stop, The Rock would be number 1 and Dana White would be number 2. So the number 1 reason that the UFC is successful is because of Dana White. Dana White is one of the greatest GMs, if we want to call him that, one of the greatest owners we have ever seen in any professional sports. Dana White took a sport like mixed martial arts and he grew it into what we know today as the UFC. Now what a lot of people don't understand is the sport of mixed martial arts was not one of the sports that was going to compete ever with the NBA, with the NFL, with hockey, or with anything else. Nobody ever thought that the UFC would ever grow into what it is today. Dana White has grown a business model of grinders. His fighters are grinders. He is a grinder. His staff, his team are a bunch of grinders. There is no easy road when it comes to Dana White's business model. He doesn't take the easy route over here because they're going to give him an extra million. He doesn't take the easy route over here so they can get some influence. No. Dana White has always stuck to his gut, and he is a grinder, and that is why he has grinded the UFC into the number 1 mixed martial arts fighting event anywhere in the world. Reason number 2 as to why the UFC is so successful. The UFC has no agenda. The UFC is not here to push a religious agenda. The UFC is not here to push a political agenda, and instead allows its fighters the freedom to be who they are, allows its fighters the freedom to express who they are, allows its fighters the freedom to talk on social media how they want to talk. The UFC is the catalyst of equality. The UFC, where else in the world are you going to have Colby Covington dressed in MAGA gear with Tyron Woodley dressed in Black Lives Matter gear on the same podium? Nowhere else in the world will you ever see such equality, such unity than in the UFC. Its fighters have the right to be who they are. Its fighters have the right to be proud of their heritage, to be proud of their country. Just this past week, Moreno, a very talented fighter, just took the belt from Figueroa. And he's the very first Mexican-born UFC champion, and that is celebrated in the UFC. And it's not about black and white. It's not about where you come from. It's about equality across the board. The UFC does an amazing job of giving its fighters the freedom to be who they are, giving its fighters the freedom to express how they want to express themselves out in public. And listen, the good and the bad are always going to be there. But if we give people the opportunity to be who they are, give everybody an equal voice, I think you're going to see a successful model like you have with the UFC. Reason number 3, and arguably the most important reason of all, the UFC is so successful because, let's be honest, people like to watch other people get the living shit kicked out of them for 5 minutes straight. So let's cue some knockouts.
Huge right there! So even on total strikes at the moment.
So don't tell me that you didn't enjoy that, because guess what? If you're a degenerate like me and you like fighting, I'm sure you're a big fan of the UFC. So reason number 3 is super simple. People like watching other people fight. Now, they don't want to be in the fight, but they like watching other people fight, and Dana White gives you the best matchups every single week. He gives you champion versus champion, contenders versus contenders. He gives you interesting fight matchups every single week. He's the greatest, I don't know what you call this, but fight put together person. Whatever that is, he's the greatest that version of that. Like, that is just what he does that is so successful. Everybody likes to watch fights. Everybody likes to watch people,
You got knocked the fuck out!
Exactly. Don't tell me you didn't like to watch people get knocked the frick out. Exactly. Everybody likes to watch that, and that is the most important reason of all. Because we are all degenerates. We're all a little bit sick in the head. We all like to watch people fight, as long as it's not us in that fight. So there you are, the 3 reasons that the UFC is successful. I'll catch you guys next time.